me and Eddie really did not get along.
In real life?
In real life.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Like we didn't get. But every single week before taping, we'd come together, we'd put our hands together, we'd bow, and we'd pray before we go out there.
Breaking just moments ago, Malcolm-Jamal Warner, the actor best known for starring in the TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has reportedly died.
Actor Malcolm-Jamal Warner, widely known for starring in the hit TV sitcom The Cosby Show, has died.
Well, reality television, first of all, has changed the financial face of television. Because for the money you'd spend on a scripted show, and it's less expensive, it's less hassle. You don't have to deal with unions, you don't have to deal with writers. So that has really hurt. That's hurt the integrity of the business.
Now the question echoes louder than ever. Did the entertainment industry deliberately downplay Malcolm's passing, or is this simply how they treat black icons once they're gone? Let's be real. Eddie Griffin didn't just lose a friend. He lost a fellow soldier in a fight they both knew all too well. His reaction wasn't just grief, it was fury. Because what just unfolded wasn't merely about a man dying. It was about a legacy being wiped clean in real time. Eddie and Malcolm go way back. Both black men navigating an industry built to silence them. Both unafraid to speak uncomfortable truths in rooms that didn't want to hear it. Both calling out injustice while others played it safe. Business as usual. Silence the disruptors. Malcolm had been warning us for years. He saw what happened to Michael Jackson, to Michael Jordan.
So it was, for me, it was like going from a top university to junior college. Because I'm saying, look, we can actually be funny without doing the stereotypical stuff. And no one was really interested in that route. They're like, we didn't bring you over here for that. This is what we do.
Jordan gambled, and then his father was murdered. The media twisted it. Jackson erased. You see the pattern. Malcolm's eyes were opened after The Cosby Show. He stepped into Malcolm and Eddie thinking progress had been made. He believed showing black people in a positive, dignified light was becoming the norm. Instead, he found resistance. Pushback from writers. Executives wanting stereotypes. Laughs over substance. I came from a show that proved black families could be funny without playing into caricatures. But no one wanted that again, he once said. They told me straight up, that's not what we hired you for. That's when the truth hit him. The Cosby Show wasn't the standard. It was a rare exception. And Cosby? He had a kind of power most black actors never get. 8 years of watching Cosby shut down bad writing and protect the show's image taught Malcolm that kind of control is everything. But Malcolm and Eddie? That wasn't his show. It wasn't his vision. Just a paycheck.
Even though we were at odds, what we both understood is we get to 100 episodes, we're going to have a sweet vacation deal. Ultimately, they cut us at 88. Because they were tired. They were tired of me fighting with the writers, and then they were tired of Eddie's shenanigans.
They were aiming for 100 episodes, syndication money, long-term stability, but the network pulled the plug at 88. Not because of ratings, but because Malcolm kept challenging the writers, and because Eddie, well, wasn't playing along either. This was Malcolm's turning point. He saw what happens when you fight for authentic portrayals. You get cut off. The price for dignity was opportunity. Then came the rise of reality TV. It changed everything. Networks found they could make more money with less effort. No unions, no writers, no actors. And when it came to black representation, the cheaper, the messier, the better. Scripted stories showing nuanced black life became too costly. But shows built on conflict, chaos, and stereotypes? They sold. Malcolm saw it clearly. It wasn't just about entertainment, it was about profits. The system rewarded harmful images because they were easy, cheap, and addictively dramatic. Eddie had been shouting this for years.
Reason number one, why they came after Bill Cosby.
If a black man does something, it says,
John Jones blacklists said black, black, black. Now, if a white man does it, it isn't white man Jones. It's just a man.
While Malcolm used measured words, Eddie dropped bombs. They want every black entertainer to leave this business dirty, he said. Nobody exits clean. Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, Michael Jordan. The bigger you get, the more they dig, the more they twist, until the legacy's tainted. To Eddie, this wasn't coincidence. It was strategy. He pointed out how even the most celebrated black men eventually get dragged through scandal. Jordan's gambling, Jackson's allegations, Cosby's downfall. None of it feels random, because if a black man rises too high, there's always something waiting to bring him back down. And when it happens, the headlines always say, black man this or black man that. Meanwhile, white men's scandals get sanitized. Their race? Never mentioned. It's about control. It's about optics. And Eddie saw through all of it. So when Malcolm died, Eddie didn't post a polished statement.
Whatever happened to integrity, man, huh? How many brothers gotta wear...
Tired of running for shade. And aren't you tired of being hustled and played? And aren't we all tired of crying about how hard it is to be black in America, even if it looks like we've got it made?
He questioned the silence. He questioned the timing. Because it came right after Malcolm's most direct criticisms of Hollywood's racial politics and his public announcement of a tell-all autobiography. Malcolm wasn't the first. Chadwick Boseman was spending his final months challenging the industry's whitewashed narratives. Nipsey Hussle was gunned down just days before meeting with police to discuss community reform. Dave Chappelle walked away from millions when he realized the industry wanted to mute his message. And when he came back, they tried to cancel him over and over again. There's a pattern. And with Malcolm, it's even clearer. Early 2024, he's doing typical press. By mid-year, he's making bolder statements. By late 2024, he's teaching people how to spot media manipulation.
You know, life is out here lifing, right? For me and for everybody else. But just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
Then, a final Instagram post accusing unseen captors, talking about how black people are still being hustled and played. 48 hours later, he's dead. But Malcolm wasn't spiraling. He wasn't reckless. He was on a peaceful vacation with family, smiling in photos just hours before. What made Malcolm dangerous wasn't his fame. It was his influence. He had built trust over 40 years. From Theo Huxtable to outspoken thought leader, he had grown into someone who could change minds. And critics always missed the point of the Cosby Show. They said it wasn't black enough. But Malcolm knew better. Its power was in its normalcy.
To be a conscious artist of color, you're constantly having to pick your battles. And, at some point you have to, really decide what your boundaries are. What are the things that you undoubtedly stand for.
It proved that a black family didn't need to be loud, broken, or stereotypical to be loved. They could just be. That message scared people. And Malcolm had known this truth since childhood. His father named him after Malcolm X and jazz legend Malcolm-Jamal. By 6, he was reading about Langston Hughes and Mary McLeod Bethune, books his white classmates couldn't pronounce, much less understand. By 6th grade, he was already internalizing what it meant to be misrepresented. And with that knowledge came a duty. His mother, Pamela Warner, made sure he stayed focused. While other child stars lost themselves, she kept him grounded. She taught him to play the long game. And that's why Malcolm never went off the rails. Instead, he grew. He evolved. He won a Grammy with Robert Glasper for Jesus Children of America, a haunting spoken word piece on Sandy Hook. His solo album, Hiding in Plain View, tackled racism, media bias, and self-sabotage. One standout line, "We used to fight for the right to be free. Now we fight for the right to be dumb for free." But he wasn't all art and activism. Malcolm lived through real heartbreak. His girlfriend, Michelle Thomas, Justine from The Cosby Show, died of cancer at 30. He stayed by her side to the very end. Later, he went through a public breakup with Regina King. And after that, he kept his private life under wraps. Eventually, he married at 45, on his own terms. Malcolm saw art as education. Every word he spoke was carefully measured. He even joked about having a respectability politics police to keep his messaging on point.
Me and Eddie really did not get along.
In real life?
In real life.
I did not know this.
Yeah. Like
okay.
we didn't get. But every single week before taping, we'd come together, we'd put our hands together, we'd bow, and we'd pray before we go out.
Just wanted to remind you, as I remind myself, that no matter what's going on, there's always a reason to smile.
And that's what made his sudden death and the response so troubling. Within hours of the announcement, it felt like the story was being managed, cleaned up, contained. This man had been talking about writing a memoir. He said, "There are stories that need to be told." But after his death, silence. No media digging, no interviews with his family, no questions about the manuscript. That's not how it usually goes, especially for a celebrity with his legacy. Try finding his old podcast episodes now. Some are harder to locate. Some appear to have been quietly downgraded. And that final Instagram post, recast by certain outlets as a sign of instability instead of a political message. But Eddie saw the shift, and he spoke up. He even suggested someone might be willing to pay $100 million to bury a story, because Malcolm had started teaching people how to recognize manipulation. And that knowledge, that shifts power. He spent his life reshaping what it meant to be black on screen. And in his final months, he was trying to reshape what it meant off-screen too.
Because I had gone from, just everything that Cosby had represented, and I had come from a show that made history, that showed that black people could be funny without being stereotypical. Because I'm saying, look, we can actually be funny without doing the stereotypical stuff. And no one was really interested in that route. They're like, we didn't bring you over here for that. This is what we do.
Whether you believe there's more to the story or not, one thing is undeniable. Malcolm's voice mattered. He warned us about cultural theft. He exposed how narratives are crafted. He reminded us what happens when you speak truth to power. And now that he's gone, we should be asking hard questions, like why no major outlets followed up on his book, why his final public appearance, dressed in all black, talking about being seen but not heard, feels so ominous now. Fans are connecting the dots. Eddie's interviews carry new weight, and it's impossible to ignore how similar their messages had become. Black men in Hollywood who speak up don't get memorials. They get erased or turned into cautionary tales. And Malcolm knew it. He saw it coming. He tried to stop it. He mentored others. He reclaimed his voice. He resisted being boxed in. And now, Eddie isn't just mourning a friend. He's calling out the system that silenced him. Maybe Malcolm wasn't just warning us. Maybe he was preparing us. Rest in power. See you on the next video.